We just had our first big convention here. We got to meet up with a whole bunch of old friends and made a number of new friends as well.
I think overall we had a great convention, especially being the first one that we attended as vendors.
We got there on Friday when everybody else was setting up, and we got to get our table set up and we got situated. We were in a pretty good spot, basically right outside where all the Ninja Turtle artists were. You had to walk by us consistently in and out. So we got a lot of foot traffic, a lot of good eyes. I did throw a whole bunch of stickers out, and I noticed that the likes and stuff started flowing on Friday night.
We also made some good friends with Justin from Epic Tales from the Sewers and Joey from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was really great hanging out with those guys as well. And
Saturday was incredibly crazy because it was super busy overall. It started really early. Stuff like Kevin Eastman's line got, basically booked up early in the morning at like 9:35 when all the VIP people ran directly to it. And then Sunday was a little bit less crazy. Sunday's usually a typically less crazy day at Granite, so that was relatively expected. But it was still a lot of traffic, still a lot of fun.
We had great interaction with fans and, some existing ones, some new ones.
Got to see a number of old friends who happened to swing by. Mike and I got to really explore the convention in a different aspect than we typically do, because we're on the other side of the table for the first time. We're talking to guests, we're talking to vendors, we're talking to other artists. We actually went live for the first time.
Going live is a different avenue for us. We're not used to that. A lot of what we do is regimented and sitting behind our computers doing the podcast itself. So it was definitely an interesting experience, changing up that dynamic and actually going live and doing things on the spot in a public environment. It was definitely fun. It was definitely enjoyable. It, gave us a different perspective.
I have had massive appreciation for the character Kino over the decades at this point of Turtles 2 coming out. So getting to finally meet Kino, which is a thing that I never thought I'd do. So when I saw him starting to tour, I was excited, got to meet him. This is that poster that we did, and I ended up getting all of the live action Turtles that were there to sign it. I got Kino down here, who I asked to sign in purple because he was also Donatello in the first movie. And as you can see, we had a lot of fun.
For the longest time, I've always been into art. I took a lot of classes in school. With this podcast, it's allowed me to be a lot more creative with my drawing and my art. Cool things for me was the fact that we got to get one of my prints out there, and it was actually the Mondo Gecko photo cover that I did. We only printed a certain amount. We weren't selling these. This was specifically a giveaway thing. The fact that this was inspired by our friend Bob Tachik, who is literally the real life Mondo Gecko, I had to have him do a little remark on it for me. My favorite part and the most surreal part was when someone actually came up to me who won one of these prints and asked me to sign it. I never would have expected that to have ever happened to me. So that's something that I'm always going to take away, even if it's the one and only that I ever do.
We are in a weird aspect because we're not a toy vendor, so we're not there selling we're not there just selling toys or comics or whatever. Sure, we had some toys to sell, but we're not published artists, so we're not there for that aspect of it. We're not cosplay people. We're not celebrities, so we're sort of in this weird, where do you fit in bubble.
Turtles is a whole different beast than I think any other nostalgia property out there, because it doesn't matter who you are, you're a family, right? Turtles represents family, with the four brothers and Splinter being their, surrogate father, and that's the way the community is. It was definitely a welcoming experience, seeing how everybody was just accepting, and there was so many times where it was like you're seeing an old friend from high school that you used to hang out with, whether it's from our new friends or some old friends that we've had on the podcast, just coming up to us and giving us hugs or it was old times, and it felt good, especially being our first convention. It was very welcoming, you know, feeling like we're the outsiders because we've never done this before. And there's also that kind of in the back of your mind, like the imposter syndrome. Like, should we be here? Should we be doing this? Do we deserve to be doing this? You know, even though, again, we were vendors, we paid for our table, we weren't invited, we weren't guests this time, but there's still that thought in the back of at least my mind. But then seeing everybody embrace us and, you know, talking to us, and there was even some other creators that came up that were asking about what we use to record and how we do the podcast to maybe help them in their own endeavors. So that was it was a very loving and embracing and welcoming environment. I think it just makes me more excited to do the next one.
It's a very welcoming community, and I felt accepted almost right off the bat, you know, and I think that was a great time.
Make sure you guys are following us on social media. That way you know what conventions we're going to be at or any public appearances that we might be doing. Again, we want to get ourselves out there more often and do some more live things. Maybe you'll end up in some videos, either live or recorded. But either way, make sure you're following. Stay tuned to all the socials and YouTube to see all the new episodes we have coming out, all the great guests we're going to be speaking to, and all the places that you might see us popping up at.